Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This week's sketch is of some books, a cup and my glasses, and here's a photo of the sketch and here's one without the background. I will show this photo again at the end. Right now you need some paper, just copy paper will do, and a pencil. Any pencil that you happen to have lying around will be fine. And I'm just going to sketch out the basic structure of the composition. I did realise once I started drawing this that I hadn't chosen a very easy composition for beginners, so I do apologise for that. But you don't have to draw all the books. You could just draw one or two if you prefer. You don't have to draw the coffee cup or the glasses, and you can make your own composition up. Now I included the book, the open book with the print, because I felt that it really added something to the composition. And the print just helps you to understand more about what the drawing is about. Not the easiest thing to draw, but you don't draw in all the words really, you just draw in a representation of the words. Now I spend a long time doing my initial drawing, as I've said before. I continuously keep coming back and refining it more and more, because the initial drawing, the outlines, is really the important bit. It's like your skeleton of your drawing, and if you don't get that right, no amount of shading will make it come right. So spend a long time actually getting the drawing correct. And I use an eraser quite often. And sometimes I rub the whole thing out and start completely again. There's no rules, and you've just got to have fun and enjoy it. But the time-consuming bit is getting that initial sketch correct. And I think this video is about 22 minutes long, whereas this took me about 3 and a bit hours to do, so just bear that in mind. You need to invest time. If you want to have a good result, then like anything, you have to invest some time in it. And remember, the thing about art is to enjoy the process. The end product doesn't matter at all. You can just draw for the bin, draw for the trash can, draw for the waste paper basket, whatever you want to call it, and even throw your drawing away at the end. It doesn't matter. It's the investment of your time in learning the skill, and hopefully the enjoyment in learning that skill, that really is the main thing with art. For me, when I do a painting, and even if I'm doing a painting to sell or for commission, the important part is actually doing the painting. Once it's finished, then it's gone and it's up to somebody else to enjoy it. Whereas for the artist, the enjoyment comes from doing it. Hopefully for the purchaser or viewer, the enjoyment comes from looking at it. It's not to say that sometimes I'm not very proud of my work and enjoy looking at it, but there are lots of other times when I'm not, and as an artist you always see the faults in your own work. Other people won't see them, but you will see them. So don't be too harsh on yourself, because you're just learning. And remember, if you were wanting to join the Olympics, you wouldn't expect to, never having run, to go in for a race and win a gold medal the first time. You would have to do quite a lot of preparation beforehand. Now here I am drawing the outline of the whole composition. So not the books within it. Here is the outline of the whole composition. And I always find that quite a fascinating thing to do. It helps you make sure that things are in their correct places. Now I'm coming in and refining the other things that are within that outline. And if you think, when you look at a composition, if you think about each thing as a shape, not what it actually is, but an abstract shape, then it's far more easy to actually draw the things. Rather than saying to yourself, oh, I can't draw a face, I can't draw a foot, I can't draw a bicycle, it's too difficult. Just think of it as the shapes. And it's how one shape relates to another, which is the important thing. The glasses themselves are quite tricky to draw because of the shape of the frames. But just persevere with it. And I did draw a line at the top and bottom of the frames to help me try and align the two of them together so that they weren't mismatched. And I like the pattern that the pages make as they fall open. So that's one of the things about having an open book, is that the pages kind of flick up. And there's that cute little half moon type shape in the spine where the book lays open. If we go back to the shapes that we've been doing over the past few weeks, then books are just rectangles and they're stacked one on top of the other. And even the sides and ends of a book are rectangles. And the cup is back to the cylinder and ellipses again, and the half ellipse on the bottom. So you have done a lot of the shapes. The glasses, as we were saying, are quite difficult because they're not a true ellipse or circle. So you just have to work with them, and maybe you've got glasses that are an easier shape than mine. Just keep coming back and refining them again and again until you're happy with them. And the same for the whole drawing. And the glasses do make a shadow on the book. And it's little things like that that really make or help your drawing to come alive. Now this is all the outlines, so this is what's called a contour drawing, when we have all the outlines before the shading. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to draw in the pattern on the cup. You don't have to do this, you could just pretend it's a plain cup, or maybe even find a plain cup. Like last week I didn't actually draw the pattern on the cup. But my videos seem to be getting longer, so next week I might try doing just a short video bit and then doing the rest as a time lapse. Just drawing in details on the book now. Still not really doing any shading. and some details on the covers. And the books I chose were some of my favourite authors. So there's Agatha Christie on the top, and there's a Donna Leon below, which is all about a Venetian detective, which has lovely descriptions of Venice. And the one below that is a Steinbeck. And I started reading Steinbeck when we lived in California in Steinbeck country. And I'd never read any of his books before. And I really thoroughly enjoyed them, particularly because they were set in where I was living. And there was even in a town called Salinas, where he was brought up, there's his old family home, which they had turned into a restaurant. And when I was living there many years ago, they were trying to make it into a museum for Steinbeck as well. And the restaurant was actually staffed by volunteers. Everyone was a volunteer, and all the profits went back into the museum, except for the chef. It did have one paid chef, but the food was really good, and it had a lovely atmosphere, and it was lovely to see the artifacts and the place where he lived as a child and even part of his adult life. Now I'm starting to shade, and I'm shading on the inside of the cup to give it some depth, and the handle. Trying also on the china to reserve the highlights to make it look shiny. And then coming in and just shading in the pattern. It was kind of a paisley pattern on the cup. And the paisley and flowers. And then coming in and shading the cover of the book. Not thinking about what the actual cover depicted, just making shapes. And look and see where the one book rests upon another. It's just like when we were drawing things on a surface, and it will be darker where the object sits upon some other object or the surface, and then there will be a shadow. Now drawing in the cover of the Donna Leon. And although the spine and the front of the cover may be exactly the same colour because of the way the light falls. Remember that one of them will be in shadow, and all that helps to show how the book is on different planes. And the book underneath will have a shadow from the book on top. So although the spine of this book was white, the Steinbeck, because it's away from the light, it will appear more greyish. And there again is that shadow where the Donna Leon book is on top of the Steinbeck. And the shadow from the open book. And here I am drawing the glasses, the arms of the glasses. And then the metal. There will be a dark edge and a light edge to metal. I do find using just an HB pencil that it's quite difficult to preserve the highlights because the pencils aren't really dark enough. So it is much easier when you use a softer pencil like a 2B or even softer to then show up the white bits. But look and observe as to how there are dark bits on the glasses and light bits. And the same with everything. But remember, just don't look at something and say, oh, I'm drawing glasses, I'm drawing a book. Try to just not see it as the object that it is, but just the abstraction. And I'm no good at abstract art, but I can see abstractions when I draw. And here is the shadow, and again, where the book is laying on the surface, the shadow is the darkest. And the pages, also the edges of the pages are darker there than they are where the light's falling on them. And try to differentiate to some extent on the open book of the different pages, because they will kind of fan out a bit. And when they fan out, they will again create their own shadows upon the pages underneath. Now coming in and doing the words. So all you'd see is just like dotted shading. Don't forget paragraphs, because they make it look more like it's print. So I'm actually erasing some paragraphs so that it looks more like print. And where the glasses are through the lenses, it will actually be slightly different. It will be offset and slightly larger. And the same for the spine of the book. If you look at what we're looking at, the right hand lens of the glasses, the spine of the book, you can't actually see it. Whereas if it was to go in a straight line through that lens, you would see it. But because of the nose piece actually hides it because it's further to the left. It's really your powers of observation all the time. Here I've drawn in the shadows that the glasses are making on the book. Now I've come in with a white gel pen or marker to try to put in the white writing on the Agatha Christie and some highlights, but it didn't really work. I think because the pencil wasn't dark enough. And here's the shadow from the cup on the cover of the book. So we are coming to the end, and sometimes it's difficult to know when you finished a picture and you can go too far, so just be aware of that. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. And this is a photo of the picture again, and here's the finished picture. So hopefully see you next week, next Sunday at 15:30. Stay well, stay safe, stay home. Bye.